So it's just past New Year's, and everybody's out there doing new diets and new exercises programs and committing to look a certain way.
Yes.
Is that the best path for you? I'm Kathy Bartoli from theintimacydojo.com.
And I'm Monique Darling from whereintheworld'smoniquedarling.com.
And I used to believe very much, and I know there's still a lot of pressure out there, that we had to look a certain way to be valuable. And I think there is a lot of that. I notice that people give a lot of attention to the people that are conventionally pretty.
Mm-hmm.
They're assumed, there's studies that say they're 25% more likely to be viewed as credible or influential if someone is conventionally pretty or handsome. And weight and physical shape have a lot to do with what is viewed as acceptable.
And I feel like in our field too that there's so many people with athletic skinny bodies.
Yeah.
Because it's just like we're sex educators, we're yoginis, we're like dakini, we're all of this work that there's so many people that just because of their lifestyle then they have these little tiny bodies.
Yeah.
And so I know I felt a lot of pressure in like the last 9 years as I've been in this field, as I moved from Utah to San Diego, that there was just all this space of wow, I really, really feel bad about myself because I don't look like that.
Mm-hmm. And yet I think there's a lot of power in, 67% of the population is overweight by the medical standards. And I think that there's a lot of view, like I've had people write in and say, I could never lower my standards enough to date someone who's bigger. And I'm like, wow,
That's
okay,
sad.
yeah. You don't have to date anyone of a particular, everyone gets to have their preferences.
Yeah.
But I want them to be your own preferences rather than what society says you should have as preferences. And we're inundated. There's an estimated 300,000 negative messages about bigger people a year that people get. So we're kind of brainwashed to think that bigger people are bad or unlovable or unsexy. And we internalize that and we become the loudest voice on that.
Wow.
And
Well, do you want to share with these guys a little bit about your story?
Sure. I didn't date for 14 years because I was bigger and I'm shy and I didn't think anyone would want to date me. And then a coach that I really respect got me out there dating. And I've had dates, as many dates as I want to put in my calendar, with really amazing people. Like I had this block. It was me doing it to me.
Yeah.
There's certainly people that say, I don't want to date someone who's at your size. I'm like, fine. Thanks for letting me know. But there's plenty that are just delighted to and have had a lot of fun with it. And I hate for anyone, my fear was I was going to wake up at the end of my life and say, where did it go? Why, I was waiting for something to change, nothing changed. And, I didn't want to be at the end of my life going, what happened? And I don't want anyone else to have that either. I know there's millions of people out there that aren't dating or think they're not worthy or hating their body and spending so much energy on that. And I've had people that are size 2 and supermodel pretty tell me that they can't go to the beach because they have an ounce of cellulite. Or I don't think it's all about how much we weigh. It's about what stories we have up here.
Yeah, I agree. And I know for me then, I have many siblings and my mom and grandma, like they were all super skinny growing up. And so I was the fat child and I wasn't even that overweight, but it was like, it was enough so in my family that they're like, you need to go work out, you've got to go do this. And the sad part is I remember even being in 7th grade and I weighed like 90 pounds. I was working out like 2 or 3 hours a day and I still felt fat and my family was still just like on my case. And so it's just been in the last couple of years that like I started a site online called Love the Skin You're In and really started taking apart what are the belief systems. And like again, when I started in this field, then I really opened up my curiosity and my acceptance and like really started enjoying my body and my pleasure. And I'd have lovers that would say, well, why do you like sex so much if you look like that? And it was just so much shaming even within our conscious community.
Yeah.
And so there was still all of this, oh no, like I shouldn't like sex so much because I'm bigger, or I have like I don't have a yoga body, or I have mom boobs, like all of these pieces.
We get to like sex, how much we like sex, no matter what
And so then I started taking apart all of those stories that I had received from my family. And like our last video that we did, we talked about needs. And part of it for me was I never got my needs met.
Yeah.
Like definitely not my wants. My wants were used against me, let alone like I didn't have my physical needs met. And so I learned to short circuit them and just like play in fairyland or wooland. And so it's as I started getting back into my body, then I realized as I started losing weight and started working out more, that all of this stuff came up for me around, like I had a lot of sexual trauma growing up too, and I started feeling like if I actually get skinny, then first of all there's no excuse anymore for any of these, like if someone doesn't like me, then it's not because
personal.
of my body.
There's no armor between it.
And really the deep underlying fear is that people wouldn't be able to control themselves around me and I'd be raped again. And like there's all of those pieces that were floating around. And I still have that fear. I've still been waking up sometimes from those dreams that I hadn't had for years. But I'm able now to work out 3 or 4 times a week because I'm enjoying it. And I'm still, I eat things that I like, but I'm more and more finding the ways to reparent myself in the ways that I didn't have growing up, so that it's okay. I don't know if it's okay, but there's this place of putting self-care first that I never learned.
Yeah.
And so now I get to.
Yeah. And I think it's a really powerful place to question what we're kind of fed. Like I went and watched, and I've been working on body image and my own view of people for a long time, but I went to see Fantastic Beasts, and one of the male characters, who's a romantic character, like he's in a romantic relationship, is a bigger guy. And they did it I thought they did it so beautifully. Like, they did show, like, he couldn't fit in something. He was like, but there wasn't picking on him for his weight. It wasn't putting him down. And this, very conventionally beautiful woman was in love with him. And I came away going, oh my God, what a breath of fresh air that is.
That's great.
It was wonderful. And we're not portrayed that. Normally, if you see someone who's bigger on TV or in media, they're the butt of the jokes, they're awkward, they're stupid, and
society conditioning.
Yeah. And we internalize that rather than going up to people and going, who are you in my life? Like, what flavor are you, or what expression of delight are you in my world? And I think that's one reason people get really bored, because they're trying to fit everyone into certain boxes. And it happens, I talk to some of my very, very pretty friends too, and they're like, yeah, it happens, like, people don't see me for me. They think I'm supposed to be what they see in the magazine. And so when we start seeing people for who they are, irrespective of how many fat cells they have in their body or how big they are, I think that opens our world up to a lot more delight and fun.
And I think you can start having more fun with yourself too, because you're not holding yourself to these unrealistic expectations, which I know was a big piece for me too, is there was shame, because I felt like I'm never going to achieve that thing that everybody thinks I should look like. And now it's just, what's one thing I can do for myself today and feel really good and celebrate that thing. And so whether I ever get skinny or not, like, I'm taking care of my body now because I love me.
And that, I think, is beautiful. And it's easy to start off with just some simple tips, like walking forward. When you look in the mirror in the morning, say, I love you to yourself. And one thing I do is when I wake up is I just kind of like get present with my body. And I appreciate it. Just notice the texture of my skin, the fact that I'm pretty strong, that my body can do things like type and touch. And just even a couple minutes of that in the morning can make a huge difference in how you approach your day.
And I like journaling, or I have people in my life now that will ask each other questions and allow like our genitals to talk, or heart or throat, or like even my arms, because I have a really hard time with my arms. And so I've started letting my arms talk to me once a week and see what are the judgments, what are their wisdoms, what does our body have to say to us. And it's been helping a lot to be in my body more. Wonderful. So you can do it with another person if they're willing, or other people in your life, or you can just journal it and just ask the questions. Close your eyes and listen, and your body's going to respond in whatever way it does.
Yeah. And if you can, let in compliments people give you, because I know that I thought that people would only want to have sex with the super skinny people, and I've had some lovers that like, no, they're kind of bony sometimes. It's not my preference. I like softer. And then like, it was really hard to let that in. But when I started doing that, like, oh, so we can all like different things and enjoy different things.
Great. Yeah. I'm glad they said that to you.
Yeah, me too. So, anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. Just see, look into and see what are the aspects of yourself, like really see how vulnerable and honest you can be with yourself, of where are you ashamed of you, where are you holding yourself back, where do you feel like that you can never reach a goal that you've been trying to reach, and see how you can just accept yourself the way that you are, and maybe from that place take baby steps from already liking yourself.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Please leave comments below. We'd love to know what you think.
Yeah. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks, Wendy.